Welcome to Adastra, and we are about to start part 5. I dream a lot the night before the first trial. I can't remember most of it, for in the last bit I'm in the throne room surrounded by dozens of wolves, who I assume are the triumvirates. Cato sits on the throne, watching over all of us, his chin on a fist. Meanwhile, Amicus is in the centre, doing some type of breakdance. He's athletic and light on his feet before throwing off his cape and doing a handstand. Then he spins on his head for a while as the wolves around him cheer. Even Cato claps reluctantly. Meanwhile, Casius has his paw to his mouth, realising he's been beaten, his paper bones incapable of withstanding such incredible moves. Then I wake up. I open my eyes and see the dark outline of the ceiling above me, the lights automatically coming on to a dim yellow glow. I hear Amicus's soft snoring next to me and look over, seeing that he's flat on his back, mouth open and hugging one of his many pillows to his chest. I roll onto my back, feeling the anxiety of the upcoming trial return. After a while I whisper up at the ceiling, "Com, what time is it?" Com whispers back, 1/2 the first hour. So I have at least 3 hours left before I can get up and get ready. I close my eyes to try and get more sleep. It's hard though, mainly because my future could be determined today. Amicus told me you really only need to win this trial to win the whole thing. Because if we win tomorrow, that means that Casius will at least have to partake in the combat trial, if not outright lose if we win the second trial. And according to Amicus, Casius has absolutely no chance in Pugnu combat, and he knows that. While he might still participate in the second trial to save some face, he'd have to withdraw for the third, otherwise face outright humiliation. So if we win tomorrow, I'm almost guaranteed a way home. The thought that this whole fiasco could be over soon brings mixed feelings for me. While I'm going to go home when I get the chance, I can't help but feel a little sad at the idea of leaving Amicus in the palace. We're good friends at this point. I thought that I might just get dropped off and never see him again. I sigh and listen to the wolf's rhythmic snores, the sound so soft and gentle that rather than keeping me awake, it starts to lull me back to sleep. And again, I find myself floating as that wide, vacuous conscience that seems to bleed over the boundaries of any sort of individuality. I don't panic this time. I'm used to the feeling, knowing that it's just a dream, that it will pass. I also sense that other presence above me, even wider than I am. They've been following me around since I got on that ship. Knowing that someone else is there calms me further, and I wait, wonder if they'll talk to me again. They do. I'm still curious. I try to talk back this time and ask them what they're curious about exactly, but I don't have a mouth to speak with. They seem to hear me though, and in response I sense gentle amusement mixed with fascination. Many things, but once again I'm afraid I have to keep it short. I wait expectantly. Do you feel that Amicus would be capable of his duties as Emperor of Adastra? This is a tough one, and I don't know what this is going to do to anything later. But he's our friend, we're going to go with yes. How interesting. The presence above me starts to dissipate, and so do I. I'm standing awkwardly in the bathroom while another wolf moves busily around me, making short, clipped comments about my odd shape and tiny stature. He's the first wolf I've seen that isn't part of the imperial family, so I keep trying not to stare at him while he turns my head left and right, smudging a black substance on my face while he does. Meanwhile, Amicus stands behind us, his face showing a mixture of amusement and concern. I raise an eyebrow at him through the mirror, but he just shrugs in response. Do not move your face, please. I look straight ahead again, letting him smudge the black makeup on my face, still try not to stare. He's hunched and droopy, wearing some type of monocle with flashing lights. The lens sticks out every now and then with mechanical droning sounds he examines his work. Also, I'm in a dress. There's no getting around it. I'm in a blue, tight-fitting gown that's covered in intricate gold designs. It's beautiful, no doubt, but I'm not really one for dresses, and I feel my face heating up with embarrassment every time I look into the mirror. So instead, I focus on staring at the wall or Amicus. So why aren't you getting dressed up? Do not speak, please. Me? Well, I'm already dressed the part of the Emperor. Amicus fans out his cape with both paws. I start to roll my eyes, but stop myself before the wolf can yell at me again. I realise he's painting black stripes on my face, and it immediately reminds me of tiger stripes. After that's done, he does the same to the exposed parts of my arms. Remember not to touch or itch at your face. Also keep your arms away from your body unless you want to ruin the fabric with powder. The wolf finally steps back, giving a snort of approval before turning and stuffing his equipment into his bag. Well, thank you. You're welcome. And with that, the old wolf hurries out to the bathroom, leaving the two of us alone. I stand there a moment, staring at myself in the mirror, feeling like a circus attraction. I look awful. Amicus coughs and steps up quickly, resting a paw on my shoulder. You look very good, actually. Well, very elegant. I look up at the wolf and see him smiling at me. I don't know if he's just trying to make me feel better, but then again, I suppose wolves don't really have any idea of what human beauty standards are. I look at the black stripes on my face. Are these tiger stripes? Amicus raises his eyebrows. Oh yes, actually. You have tigers on Earth. Yeah. Is this, okay with them? It looks like a joke. Offensive? Why would it be offensive? We're honouring Mira with this dance. If you're sure. Oh, of course I'm sure. You don't look like a joke. You look like a strong, beautiful Hindu tigress. I sigh again, still awkwardly holding my arms away from the dress, feeling stiff. When does all this start? Well, for me, in about 20 minutes. But for you, another hour or so. All right. Anything I should expect before it starts? Oh, not much. The triumvirates will be watching through video link, so only Cato will be there to judge. Oh. Well, keep in mind that it will be all televised live to the rest of Adastra, so... Amicus sees the look on my face. Maybe I shouldn't have told you that? All of Adastra? Live? Oh, don't worry. No one will actually be there in person, so just... pretend, I guess? Why did you just tell me that? Well, I had planned on you watching the first half of the trial in the dining room. You know how everything is going until it's your turn. I swallow hard. Well, I didn't mean to keep that from you. I just thought you might know this would be the case. Well, the entire moon pays very close attention to these trials. He's right. I guess I sort of did assume that it would be the case, but now that it's actually happening, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll happen when Mira dies during the dance. Listen, you'll be fine. We'll win this, and before you know it, I'll be Emperor and our problems will be over. Again, the idea of having my way home all but guaranteed in the next hour. It reminds me of the thoughts I'd had last night. So, when I do get home, is that going to be the last time I'll see you? The corners of Amicus's mouth twitch down in the frown, but only for a moment before he smiles again. Well, I suppose that's up to you. With unlimited access to the Cwtch, I might be able to make visits every now and then. Would you like that? I don't even have to think about it. Yeah. Amicus's smile widens. Well, I would as well. Yeah, I mean, you're my friend and I'd want to hear about the results of your empire. Then Amicus's smile falters, then turns into a frown. What? The wolf is quiet for a moment, then his ears flatten. I forgot the reason you're here in the first place. For a moment I don't know what he's talking about. Then I do. We're not even supposed to know each other exists. This whole thing is against the law. Oh, so I guess we wouldn't be able to do that, huh? Amicus bites his lip, then shakes his head. Oh, we'll figure it out, but now is not the time for that. We have a trial to win. Amicus turns to me and, after a little hesitation, pulls me into a quick side hug, carefully avoiding the black powder on my arm. We'll talk more afterwards over a celebratory dinner, all right? The absolute confidence and reassurance in Amicus's voice calms me just a little, and I manage a small smile. All right. Good. And a little more celebration after that, if you get my meaning. I'd almost forgotten about that. Amicus. Oh, if you want. Amicus chuckles before his ears perk up, his personal comm talking to him in a quiet babbling sound. Alright, that's my cue. Head to the dining room if you'd like to watch. Otherwise, comm will tell you when to leave the throne room, alright? I nod, and Amicus gives me one last pat on the shoulder before turning away. Good luck. I know you're going to do great. Amicus waves at me before walking out the door, leaving me alone to wait. I move to the bed and sit down, carefully resting my arms out to the side, wishing they'd applied the makeup a little closer to the dance so I didn't have to walk around like a scarecrow. I realise pretty quickly that sitting here in silence is only making me more nervous, so I slowly get up, making my way to the main hall. As usual, the halls are empty. The only people living here are the Imperial siblings, Cato and Neferu. The old makeup wolf is the only other person I've seen over the past 2.5 weeks that I've been here. It makes me think that I still want to see the city before I leave. If I leave. I block that thought from my brain, trying not to think of what might happen if these trials go poorly for us. Instead, I try to let the bright sunshine and fresh morning air calm my nerves. Eventually, I make my way to the dining room, and when I look in, I see Alex sitting on one of the beds. His ears perk up as he sees me, eyes widening in surprise. Oh, hello, Tibor. How are you? He stares at my face, then down at my costume. I feel myself turning red, and I desperately wish that I had stayed in Amicus's room. I'm able to swallow the embarrassment down for now, though. I know Alex pretty well, after all. Where's your costume? At this point, I feel like I'm the only person being made to play dress-up. I sit down on the middle bed, not wanting to be directly across from the cat where he'd have to stare at me. Should I be in one? I shrug. I don't know, they put me in one, obviously. Obviously, and the powder too. I glare at Alex. I mean, you look good, very bold. So why the hell aren't you dressed up as Mira? We're doing the same dance, right? Well, yes, though Casius instructed that I be in my underwear. Actually, I think I prefer your situation. Sure. Seriously? You think I want all of Adastra to see my naked torso? Alex hugs himself, shuddering. It's so embarrassing. I sigh and sit back on the bed, only now noticing that Casius is on the screen, playing some sort of brass instrument that looks to be vaguely in the shape of a French horn. It sounds nothing like one, though. The volume is low, but I can hear the raspy, sputtering sound it's making. Not pleasant to my ear, but then the idea of what music and dance is seems to be very different from Earth. Well, I prefer being half naked, and if this is my introduction to the moon, why am I all covered up like this? I'm pretty sure they'd rather get a better look at what I actually look like. But as I'm saying that, I wonder if maybe that's why Amicus had me so covered up. Well, the dress looks very good, actually. It's the makeup that surprises me. I suppose it's very woven to do something like that. I look at Alex, frowning. Woven? Is this offensive? Maybe just a smidge, but not to the wolves, so you have nothing to worry about. The Hindos don't talk to Adastra anymore. Oh my god. I want to bury my face in my hands, but I can't with all the makeup on. On top of that, it's all starting to itch. This is so stupid. Alex chuckles. It really is. The wolves are so obsessed with spectacle and drama, which is why the trials are used instead of elections, or even just sound judgment from a council. Alex gestures up at one of the screens. It's an Adastra on holiday right now, so everyone can watch this. Casius has finished his little song, standing up and bowing. On the right edge of the screen, 5 little boxes pop up, each one containing the faces of 3 wolves sitting solemnly side by side. Though in a way, the people are having a role in choosing their emperor here, with their elected triumvirates making a decision. Then I don't understand why song and dance should apply. So why would Casius and Amicus campaign if they're just going to be chosen through these trials? Well, if the decision isn't clear, then why not choose the wolf that has the most popularity of your people? It increases the chance of re-election. Amicus suddenly appears on screen, sitting down, a spotlight on him as he begins to blow into the same instrument. Again, that raspy, blatting sound that would make me cringe if it were a human instrument at a human concert. I have no idea if he's better than Casius or not. And general popularity is good to have anyway. A happy people is usually a more peaceful and easy to control society. So, Amicus is at a disadvantage then? Well, unless he clearly outperforms Casius. I sigh, watching as the wolf's cheeks puff up each time he blows into his little horn, his eyes almost crossed with effort. I guess you elect your officials? Yes. So does most of... I find myself almost saying the name of my planet again. It's harder and harder to keep this secret from Alex, especially as our relationship has become more casual. Our tribes. At least I think that's what they are on the Simian planet. I just have to hope that Alex doesn't actually look it up. But he continues on like he didn't notice my pause, like he always does. Anyway, despite the competition, I still consider you a friend, and I hope you feel the same. Maybe we can have lunch in the garden soon, no matter the result? Yeah, let's do that. Wonderful. We sit in silence for another 10 or so minutes, watching as Amicus finishes his horn playing. Then Casius takes the spotlight again and begins singing. It's actually just howling. Cassie's head leaned back, muzzle tipped toward the ceiling, looking just like a wolf on earth as it howls to the moon. I think he's saying words, but I can't really understand, especially with the odd high-pitched tone it has. Meanwhile, a little gauge pops up in the bottom screen, a needle going back and forth with the pitch of the howl. They want that indicator to stay in the middle. It represents better control over their song. It's short, only a few minutes before it's Amicus's turn, doing much the same as Casius, except his howl is deeper, fuller. A lot better, I think. I also like to think that the needle stays in the middle more often than they had for Casius, but I'm not sure. Toward the end of Amicus's song, Com's voice crackles gently over our heads. Alex, Tibor, the dance begins in 5 minutes. Please proceed to the throne room doors. My heart skips a beat as we both stand up, Alex leading the way to the hall. I wonder if he's nervous too. Even though he looks calm, his tail lashes back and forth as we walk. I don't try to talk to him, feeling like we're both a little preoccupied with our own thoughts right now. We get to the big double doors and wait side by side. Alex's paws are folded neatly in front of himself, so I do the same. I try to breathe evenly. I've never been good in front of big crowds, and even though it's technically only Cato in there, I can't forget the fact that millions of people are going to be watching. Dance trial begins in 5, 4, 3, 2... The doors slide open, and I find myself staring into a darkened throne room, the windows deeply tinted so only a vague hint of sunlight comes through. I immediately see Amicus straight ahead of me, bathed in the bright spotlight. The same can be said for Casius about 10 meters to his right. Cato sits on the throne, just like in my dream. I also notice Virginia and Nephro sitting next to each other on one of the benches. That alone makes me even more nervous, but then a voice comes over the PA. Not Com, but someone else, sounding old and frail. Presenting Pet Alexios from Moon Amorpha, and Pet Tibor from Planet Simia. Amicus and Casius reach out one paw, and Alex starts to walk forward on his toes, looking light and sophisticated. I quickly follow suit, trying to sort of mimic his walk. I'd never practiced my entrance with Amicus. I start to wonder if I'm even more underprepared than I thought I was. No time to think about that now. I do the best that I can with my stupid prancing walk before coming to a stop in front of Amicus, reaching out a hand to rest in his big paw. He smiles reassuringly down at me, and for some reason his presence makes me a little less nervous than I had been while waiting alone for the trial to start. We stand there quietly for a moment, then that old voice starts up again, but now it's in a howl, high, wavering and faint. He starts to recite the story in the same howl, but it's hard to hear, and now that there are words... Wait, I can't understand it. He's speaking... Oh, fuck. The lingua isn't translating the song. Immediately I start to panic as I see Amicus raise up his paw. I probably have a look of horror on my face because his reassuring smile has turned to a frown. Jerkily I raise up my hand to touch it to the wolf's paw, trying to stay calm. I can do this. Sure, I attach a lot of the movements to the words in the song, but I remember the order of the poses, I think. Still, the unexpected blunder has me flustered and stumbling, my movements hesitant and definitely inelegant. I'm so frazzled I don't really have time to dwell on the fact that Alex and Casius are doing the dance at the same time. Are we competing for Cato's and the watching triumvirate's attention? I try to stay focused on Amicus, watching his movements, hoping that I might remember enough of his cues to get through all the movements correctly. My falling apart must be affecting Amicus as well, his brow furrowed in confusion, his movements also becoming slower, more hesitant. Fuck. I think I feel sweat running down my face, probably turning my striped makeup into a streaked mess. Several times I'm caught staring at Amicus, unsure what to do until I look over at Alex to see what he's doing. The cat looks totally in his element, stretching and elongating his body luxuriously in tandem with Casius. The wolf isn't bad himself, taking the clear lead in the dance as he dips and sways with Alex's body. Meanwhile I fumble around with Amicus, watching as the powder on my sweaty arms smears on his fur, leaving long black smudges on his chest and arms. Finally we get to Mira's death, and at least I know when this is supposed to happen, as I see Amicus reach out dramatically for me. This is the only moment in the entire dance that I feel confident in what I'm doing, and I put everything into my swoon. But so does Alex. Amicus is already next to me to catch me before I can start to fall, but Alex swoons while Casius is still meters away from him, where the wolf smoothly glides to his side to catch him. Alex lays there in Casius's arms, splayed out dramatically, looking somehow serene and distressed at the same time. The spotlight almost makes the pair glitter. Even I feel like there's a good deal of chemistry between the two of them. There had been a small but definite hope on my end that Alex might help us out here, maybe throw the dance in our favour with a fall or stumble, but it looks like he's putting everything into the performance. Casius, despite his reputation of being weak, looks strong and confident, easily supporting Alex's weight as the cat dips further toward the ground. At the same time, the wolf's howl reaches a new pitch, the climax of the story. That's when Alex turns his head to Casius for a deep, passionate kiss. Even though Mira is supposed to be gone at this point, Alex reaches up to caress Casius's face, pulling him deeper. Meanwhile, their bodies press closely together, Casius very clearly grinding his hips against the cat's, the paw that's not supporting Alex instead running up his thigh, before dipping under Alex's underwear, pushing it up until most of the cat's thigh is showing. And they just writhe against each other like that, as if caught in the throes of passion, the movements of their muzzles telling me that a lot is going on past those lips. The entire act stuns me, almost making me forget about the disaster that our own dance had been. Casius turns, carrying Alex with him as he faces them in the other direction, never breaking the kiss. In fact, their groping and grinding get even more intense. It's given everyone a good view of what's happening. If the whole idea of the dance is to capture attention and make the story and feelings believable, well, I believe them. In fact, I believe there's a lot more going on between the two than I originally thought. That might explain why Alex wouldn't want to hurt Casius's chances of being Emperor. Maybe my hopes that Alex would help us were completely naive. And that's when I'm suddenly snapped back to reality as I hear Amicus grunt above me. I've been so enamoured with Casius and Alex's kiss I'd forgotten our own. Seeing a preview of what I might have to do with Amicus, though. I blush, steeling myself, getting ready as the wolf starts to lean down toward me, his lips puckered up slightly. I ready my own lips, but then suddenly Amicus turns his head to the side slightly, landing the kiss on my cheek instead. It's soft and fleeting, and before I know it, Amicus has pulled back, before gently lowering me to the cold marble below. I recognise the word Adastra in the howl before everything goes quiet. I hear Alex getting up just a few feet away, so I do the same, Amicus quickly hurrying over to help me up in my dress. It's only then that I see the various drones floating around above us, the attached lenses making me realise that they're cameras. I quickly duck my head, not wanting the people to see the smeared offensive makeup on my face. Amicus holds me close to his side, not saying anything, thankfully. Casius continues to look straight ahead, and I can see Alex glancing at us, looking confused. Then Com's voice. The triumvirates have made their decisions. Lupus, Casius. Ad Roti, Casius. Lux, Casius. Gebii, Casius. Tricelli, Casius. Adastra. The camera drones to swivel to focus on Cato. He shifts on his throne before grunting out his answer. Casius. The trial has been decided. Casius is the victor. There's a moment of stunned silence, then the windows untint and the camera drones lazily drift away up into some seething compartment. I'm left standing there looking around at the others. Cato's walking down the steps from the throne in the direction of Casius. Meanwhile, Virginia is whispering to Nephro behind a fan she's casually waving into her face. Casius is petting Alex's head, murmuring to him under his breath. Finally, Amicus stands awkwardly to my side, not even looking at me, his paws behind his back and his eyes on Cato. I suddenly realise again how stupid I look. Can I go change? I mumble to Amicus, keeping my voice low like everyone else, as if we're in a library or something. Sure. Do you want... I don't let him finish. I'm walking as fast as I can to the double doors, knowing that everyone's eyes are on my back as I pause to touch the black panel. Once I'm in the main hall, I'm able to breathe a little easier, starting to feel the anger coming up to the absolute humiliation. I don't know exactly what I'm angry at. Not Amicus, even though he maybe should have had an idea that howls don't translate. Not Cato or the triumvirates, they'd made the right decision. I'd been a complete disaster out there. I guess I'm just mad at this whole system, that the responsibility of getting me home rests on me just as much as the guy that got me here in the first place. It isn't fair. So I guess I am pissed at Amicus in a way, but the anger is a lot broader than that. I'm angry at the entire situation. I go straight to the bathroom, roughly trying to yank off the stupid dress. It's tight around my neck, and I spend the next minute doing an awkward dance, trying to find the buttons on the back so I can loosen it. Eventually I just rip it off before wiggling out of the dress, feeling a little guilty only after I see the beautiful fabric crumpled up on the ground. I stand there, breathing heavily, sweaty and hot. I look in the mirror and I'm a little surprised to see the makeup still mostly intact on my face. Which reminds me, I'm also pissed that the first time I get paraded out to the public, it's in a racist costume and makeup. I get in the shower, letting the hot water run over my face, feeling a little better now that I'm alone with my thoughts and out of the tight dress. Still, my mood is a bit dark. I guess now I can actually start to consider that I might be living here forever. While my mind initially rejects the idea, I guess it's not the worst fate. I'll at least be living in a palace with Amicus. I know he'd take care of me. At least I think he would. Maybe this whole pet thing is temporary, and if he loses the trials he'll just throw me out with the trash, maybe kill me like he'd once mentioned on the ship. Under my gloomy contemplations, though, I know that that's not the case. He wouldn't do that, but I can't promise myself that I'd be able to keep friendly with him if things really do go south. He told me this would be so easy so many times. Even if the lingua hadn't messed up, I doubt we still would have won. After a good half hour, I finally get out of the shower. I stand in front of the fans for a bit, enjoying the way it whips my hair around before I pick up some underwear off the hook and tie it on. I'm pretty fast at doing that now, not even having to think about it. Finally, I open the door. The cool air that rushes in is refreshing after such a hot shower, but I'm immediately treated to the sight of Amicus walking away from the door, probably in the middle of pacing. He immediately turns around at the sound though, his eyes wide. "Hey, Tibor, how are you?" "Oh, great." I walk over to the dresser, opening the one that's full of children's robes. "Really?" "Sure." I hear Amicus huff behind me. "Please, I just don't want to deal with that mood of yours right now. I just want to talk." That's fair, but him telling me to stop sulking is just making me sulkier. You know, I would have loved to talk just like a week ago about this stupid trial. Imagine how much better it would have gone if we'd actually memorised the dance, rather than just following cues from you in the song. I whip out a robe. Which, by the way, isn't a song. You always make fun of Earthlings in our primitive ways. At least we actually have a variety of music. Oh, and we can actually sing, not those creepy howling sounds that sound like you're dying. Amicus frowned at me, his ears flat. "You're upset?" "No, what made you think that?" "Stop it, Tibor. Well, I'm just as upset and disappointed as you probably are. Was it the cameras, maybe Cato, that made you nervous? What happened?" I'm quiet for a moment as I start tying on my robe. Then suddenly Amicus's paw reaches out, grabbing my right hand and yanking it away from my clothing. "What? What happened to your paw?" I look up and see the wolf staring at the palm side of my hand with wide eyes before turning it this way and that. "What?" "Oh, your skin, it's bunching up. Are you having a reaction to the powder?" I stare at him, confused before pulling my hand away to look at my pruny fingers. "Oh, no, I was just in the shower too long. My skin does that when I'm wet for a long time." "Well, I've never noticed that before." "You take short showers." The wolf frowns at me, then snatches my hand up again to stare at the fingers in fascination, even as I try to yank it back. At that point, I feel my mood about to take a turn in one of two directions, either exploding at Amicus in frustration and anger over everything, or just laughing. And I find myself doing the latter, chuckling at first before letting out a loud guffaw. Amicus gives me a strange look, finally letting me go. "Are you sure you're all right? You're worrying me." I sigh as I finish tying on my robe before flopping back onto the bed, hands above my head as I let the pleasant cool air drift down from the ceiling to blanket my body. I know I'm going to get cold in a few minutes, but for now it feels good. Remember how you said the lingua has trouble translating some things? "Oh yes, I hear the wolf pause as he figures out what went wrong. Heard nothing but wailing Latin in that howling noise. I had no idea what I was doing. "Oh, gods." There's a heavy thump and I feel the mattress crater and tilt sideways a bit as Amicus sits down next to me. So yeah. "Tibor, I'm so sorry. Well, I didn't even contemplate that possibility." "It's fine. I didn't think either of us could have." "I mean, I've listened to music from the Cats before and never had an issue with lyrics translating." I shrug. "I don't know. Doesn't the lingua try to understand intention too? Maybe I'm meant to hear the true language when you guys sing. It was happening when you were doing your song, even though I didn't realize it then." "Oh, you heard me sing?" I can hear the embarrassment in Amicus's voice. "Yeah, it sounded fine, honestly. I was just being a dick earlier." "I know. But still, I'm tired of you trashing on human culture." "Oh, I know. And I knew that makeup was offensive, by the way. I look like an idiot for all of Adastra to see." "Well, you look good." I turned my head toward the wolf. "Oh, really? Fumbling around like an idiot with no clue what he's doing looks good?" Amicus stays quiet this time. I stare back up at the ceiling. "I guess at least I'm keeping up the dumb primitive ape act, right?" Amicus just sighs, getting up. I watch as he slowly walks over the sofa to sit down. Well, I have to say that although you're a very kind, intelligent person, you're very frustrating when you get into these moods. Frustrating? Oh, just so gloomy and self-defeating. You remind me of Casius sometimes. I pull a face. Since when is he self-defeating? He seems pretty full of himself to me. Oh, you don't know the real Cass. He very much dislikes himself. Also, don't compare me to your brother. I really don't want to be thinking about him right now. Oh, I'm just saying. I prefer you in lighter spirits. It suits you more. I'll work on it. A long silence goes by, and with the way that Amicus is shifting around, I can tell that he wants to ask me something. What is it? Well, I guess that little celebration is out of the question now. The dinner. I sit up suddenly, giving him an incredulous look. Seriously? Whoa, I was just kid. We just lost a trial. You're one trial away from losing the emperorship, and you're seriously thinking about that? Well, I was just having a bit of fun. No, you want a pity handy. Well, it's not like I need you to do it. I can get the job done myself. Then do it. Well, I will. Amicus sits there huffily, not making eye contact. I sigh, remembering what the wolf had said about improving my mood. I often criticise Amicus for his tantrums, reminding him that it won't help us to sulk. It's kind of hypocritical that I don't hold myself to the same standards. Sorry, I've just got a lot on my mind, obviously. Listen, I know this went much differently than what we had planned, but I will certainly win the next trial. I've debated Casius many times before. Do I have to do anything? Other than watch? Oh, no. When is it? 2 weeks from now. You'd better win. Oh, I will. I sigh again, realising that the knot I'd had in my stomach the past few weeks had a bit longer to stick around. And I might still... I make a jacking motion in the air. Later on, I'm just not in the right state of mind right now. Oh, I understand. It was too early to make light of things. Though, maybe we could do something else that would make us both feel better? Something else? Yes, like I could just hold you? Amicus's voice gets uncharacteristically high on the last word. Hold me. I repeat his words. Why would you want to do that? Well, companionship is part of pet duties, and holding or embracing is often how it is expressed. Might also be comforting for you, considering how stressful the past few hours have been. Again that hopeful look, and again I actually feel bad for him. How lonely do you have to be to just want to cuddle someone? At the same time, I want to. I might not want to admit it, but I've also been lonely these past 3 weeks, emotionally and physically. Also, I've really liked our short hugs, so a longer one. Try not to look too eager myself, I sigh and stand up. Amicus's ears immediately perk up in happy surprise. He leans back, legs together, waiting as I walk up to him. Do you... I sit down in his lap, a little awkwardly at first as I wobble around, then finally settle on turning sideways, knees drawn up as I lean my shoulder against his chest. Amicus pauses, then wraps his arms around me. Despite the awkward start, I'm amazed at the way I just sort of fit against the curve of his body. His big furry arms envelop me, and I feel the muscles tighten briefly before relaxing. His soft stomach cushions against my side, making it feel as if I'm leaning against a big, furry but firm waterbed. His chest is broad and thick, propping my head up comfortably as he scoots his butt out a bit to help us better recline. Then he tucks my head under his chin, and just like that I'm surrounded by his warmth, the cold that started to bite at my bare skin dissipating immediately. I feel a little thrill in my chest at the feeling of having this wolf, so large and powerful, hug and cuddle me so gently. Something about that is so nice. Amicus just holds me in silence for a while, and I feel his paws shift around a bit, like he's kneading through the robe to the skin on my back. Finally his deep voice rumbles through his chest and against my ear. Is this all right? Yeah, this is fine. I blush, embarrassed how much I'm enjoying this. Originally I just wanted to make him feel better, but he's right about this making me feel better. Amicus rubs his chin down against the top of my head and I hear him inhale. Well, I suppose this isn't a normal thing to do on Earth. Well, it is if you're dating someone. It's not a usual thing with friends, though. Ah. Amicus paws at me a bit more, making those tiny movements as if he's trying to feel me as much as possible without being obvious about it. What is dating on your planet? I shrug, though it's hard to do against the wolf's tight embrace. Just asking someone you like out on a date. Basically, it just means that you like the person, you want to know more about them, and dating helps you do that. Ah, sounds fairly casual. So how does one initiate dating? I don't know. Just ask them, give them flowers if you're old-fashioned. But it is pretty casual, honestly. Why are you so curious? It's Amicus's turn to shrug. Well, I always want to be careful about your boundaries. Well, it's easier when I understand your culture better. I lean against the wolf, realising even though I'd made a complete fool of myself just half an hour earlier, I feel fine. I kind of hope that this isn't the last time we do something like this. Knowing Amicus, it likely won't be. It's a few days later when I'm finally able to hang out with Alex like we'd planned. Casius had stepped up his campaign over the past several days as his chances of becoming emperor increased. So did Amicus after his decreased. The difference being that Alex often found himself going on campaign trips with the White Wolf, while Amicus always left me behind. I think Amicus had picked up on the fact I don't like being out in front of so many people after the whole dance incident. Still, he promises me that when he wins the next trial, we'll go out to the city to celebrate. For now, though, I'm happy to stay in the gardens with Alex, enjoying a quiet midday meal as we both talk and sip our tea. Honestly, they should just have us redo the dance if your lingua wasn't translating. Was yours? Well, no, but I knew it wouldn't. Wolves never intended for the lyrics to translate of the lingua because it ruins the howl, which seems to be the whole point of singing. I could understand Amicus overlooking that, though. Most wolves never see another sibling species in person in their entire lives. Well, it's over now. On to the debate thing they're going to do next. Oh yes, Casius has been training with the best rhetorician on the moon, Marcus Manius. I notice he puts a bit of emphasis on the name and I look over at him. Alex sips at his tea daintily, watching the fountain lazily. He's offered Casius many tips on convincing the triumvirates. Very useful tips, actually. Is Amicus doing anything similar? I realise then that Alex is offering me information on what Casius is doing to prepare for the trial. At least I think he is. Whether that's the case or not, I try to remember the name of the rhetoric guy, knowing I should tell Amicus later. I'm not really sure. He hasn't told me all that much about what he's doing, but hopefully it's something similar. Well, I recommend he study the triumvirates in their cities, if only to find the best way to convince them during the second trial. Yep, definitely offering me information. Thing is, after seeing the way he and Casius interacted, I wonder if I can fully trust him. You know, Casius was saying something earlier while I was serving him about a week ago. Did you know he has plans to get rid of the triumvirates? Alex's eyes widened for a moment. Oh, really? I wonder why. Something about it being easier to rule directly rather than through elected officials. Well, that's some radical thinking, isn't it? Well, that's what Virginia said. Well, she's always been rather reasonable. Honestly. Alex leans in, lowering his voice. I'd rather she become the empress. Unfortunately, the wolves don't allow females to hold positions of much authority, so her chances at the throne are nil. Alex's eyes suddenly widen as he looks over my shoulder. I raise my eyebrows and look back to see Neferu making his way towards us. I turn around to see Alex looking down toward the ground, his tail lashing around before he holds it in his lap. The jackal stops to stand in front of us. Without a word, he delicately takes one of Alex's paws and bows low to kiss it. Alex raises the other paw to his mouth, blushing furiously. Meanwhile, Neferu just nods at me. Good day, Alex and Tibor. How is your midday meal? Alex still has his paw to his mouth, so I answer for him. Well, it's okay. How are you? Splendid. I noticed then he's carrying a bottle in his paw, the glass glinting in the sunlight with his every move. I was just taking a walk through the gardens this morning when I happened across a shockingly large spider that skittered across the ground at my paws. Neferu sweeps his paw in front of himself, as if showing where the spider ran. I can't help but wonder if I'm in danger here. Alex finally speaks up then, squeaking with the first syllable. No, they're rather harmless. Their venom is very mild. Oh, well, that's a relief to hear, Alex. On my home planet, I often have to shake my loincloths out before wearing them, in case of scorpions. Oh, really? Well, that's terrifying. It certainly can be, but it's something you get used to. Alex and Neferu smile at each other for a moment, and I frown at the cat, wondering what the hell he's doing. Oh yes, I came to give you this. Neferu leans down and holds up the glass bottle, and now I'd see it's filled with a honey-coloured liquid that sloshes lazily in the bottle. The Buna seed oil I promised. Much better for the fur than the Adastra oils they have for us. Alex reaches out and takes the bottle, blushing again. So thank you, Neferu. I'll use it first thing tomorrow. And I'll see you again tomorrow to make sure you do. The jackal winks, and I think I hear Alex make a strangled noise in his throat. In the meantime, would you like to take a walk with me? Oh, Neferu once again extends a paw. Alex coughs awkwardly before reaching out to take it. Wonderful, you're always such great company. Would you like to join us as well, Tibor? I think back on what had happened in the baths. No thanks. In that case, I'll see you around the palace. Yeah, see ya, Tibor. Neferu offers his arm to the cat, and just like that they're off into the gardens, disappearing around the many bushes lining the footpaths. I stare after them, a bit confused, still unclear on what exactly the jackal is doing. I'm also reminded I need to ask Alex about why the hell he told Neferu about my intelligence. Only problem is, I don't know how to do that without seeming suspicious. Technically, there isn't a reason why it's supposed to be a secret. I feel like bringing it up will only give the cat reason to dig more deeply. As I'm wondering all of this, I notice a shape in the bushes, near the ones that Alex and Neferu disappeared behind. Then I see a flash of red and maybe an elbow poking out. What the? Amicus? I yell out in his direction. I see the wolf jump, suddenly coming out from behind his cover. Yes, I was just having a look at the roses. The wolf walks towards me, his paws behind his back. I raise an eyebrow at him. Were you spying on us? Were you trying to avoid Neferu or something? Amicus ignores me this time. How was your day, Tibor? Okay. I try to look around the wolf's side or whatever he's hiding behind his back, returns accordingly to keep it obscured. What are you doing? Well... Amicus takes a deep breath and I feel myself starting to get nervous. Then he goes down to one knee. Tibor, over the past few weeks I've come to enjoy your company immensely. My mouth drops. And over the past few weeks I've come to realise that we share so much in common in terms of our goals and desires. Amicus gives me a coy smile at that. What are you... So I decided I should take the next step, to make you feel more welcome and to show you how much I appreciate your kindness and understanding. The wolf suddenly swings his paws to his front, revealing what he'd been hiding. It's a bouquet of purple flowers, lavenders to be exact, along with several smaller white flowers sprinkled into the mix. Tibor, will you date me? I stare at the wolf, still taking in the presentation he'd just given me. My mouth still hangs open. I make a few, sounds as I try to form a coherent sentence to respond in my mind. I probably messed that up, huh? Well, hopefully the message came across clearly. What do you think? I'm stunned. And that's good? Amicus, what is this? I did something wrong, didn't I? Well, I mean, did you mean to do it? The whole thing is crazy, but Amicus's demeanour doesn't really match with the proposal he just made. Did I mean to ask you out on a date? Well, yeah, did you? Yes. Now the wolf is really fidgeting, tugging at his cape nervously as he lowers the bouquet to hang limply at his side. I have an odd butterflies in the stomach feeling that won't seem to go away. I don't know what it means, but I try to ignore it. The wolf suddenly deflates, looking dejected. Did I pick up the incorrect meaning? I clear my throat, trying to gather my wits. What, do you think dating is? Well, what you told me. It's a relationship status that enables you to become closer, learn more about each other, along with normalizing physical intimacy. Well, he seems to have it down for the most part. The part that I'm having trouble with, though. Well, people that date also tend to have, I guess, feelings for each other. Well, yes, I have very friendly feelings toward you, and I want to make you more comfortable around me, especially when it comes to physical intimacy. Isn't that the point of dating? I sigh, realising I hadn't explained it well enough. Then I hadn't realised that Amicus was planning to do this either. Well, usually people don't do it unless they love each other. My voice gets quieter and quieter over the course of the sentence till Amicus has to poke his ears forward to hear me. Love? Yeah. Oh. Amicus stands there a moment before the inside of his ears turn bright red. You said it was casual. The wolf raises his voice, the sudden increase in volume making me jump. Well, it is. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be in love to date, but the intention is usually to find love. Dear gods, was your intention just to humiliate me after the dance? What the hell are you talking about? How was I supposed to know what you were planning this? Oh, I think me asking those questions had made it fairly obvious. You assume way too much. Clearly. The wolf tosses the bouquet to the side, letting it land on the bench before it rolls off to the ground. Amicus slumps onto the bench next to me, his ears still red. I let him grumble to himself for a minute or two, wanting to let him cool off the initial embarrassment. Then I reach up to rest a hand on his broad shoulder. Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you. Besides, how are you supposed to know? It's an earth thing. Amicus waves a paw. That's fine. Like you said, I assume too much. I lean over to pick up the bouquet, seeing how the flowers just look kind of bunched together. You make this yourself? Well, yes. The garden has many flowers. It smells like you. Yes. It looks good. Well, thank you. We sit quietly for a few more minutes as I pretend to examine all the flowers in the bouquet. So, it's either friendship or love with humans? No physical intimacy unless you're bound to fall in love? What do you mean? Well, like this dating culture you have. You're interested in giving me that sexual favour. Does that mean you're also interested in love with me as well? I blush. Well, not exactly. Well, didn't you say dating allows for more intimacy? But dating is also meant to look for love? I sigh and set the bouquet aside. Things are changing, becoming more casual. I say the word carefully and Amicus snorts. But I guess the term you might be looking for is friends with benefits. Benefits? Friends that have sex, basically. Ah, I see. We haven't done that, though. No, but I'm not going to make you date me just to get a handjob. Amicus scratches behind his head before looking away again. Once again, I find myself feeling bad for him. Listen, if we weren't having this whole, I lower my voice, illegal space adventure, I might say yes. What, really? I said might. Oh, really? I think you're missing a key word there. Well, I think I understand. I find myself turning red again, wishing I'd just kept my mouth shut. Well, maybe I might as well. Well, you already asked. Without knowing the full meaning. I try to think of something else to change the subject, knowing that my blush is clear as day to the wolf and he's very much enjoying it. Anyway, Alexios told me that Casius was training under a rhetoric person, Marcus Manius or something? Amicus suddenly frowns. Marcus Manius? Really? I think that's what he said. Damn. Amicus's tone is that of awe. Is that bad? It's simply surprising. He's the most famous Adastran rhetorician there is. Should I be worried? No, in fact, now that you've told me, I'm in much better shape. I now have an idea of what style he might use, so that will make it easier to counter his points. If you're sure. Well, of course. Now come to my room to help me practice, just to make extra certain I'll win. We get up and walk back to the palace through the gardens, leaving a bouquet of flowers behind on the bench. Amicus seems to have gotten over his embarrassment about the whole incident pretty quickly. It's just like him to be able to do that, actually. In fact, we're laughing and talking just as easily as we always have, the wolf nudging me every few minutes to punctuate something he says, each one causing me to stumble. Anyway, Cass tends to stutter over his words in front of large crowds. Not much a rhetorician can do about that. The wolf reaches out a paw, pressing it to the black square. Besides, what exactly is he... Amicus and I stare in surprise as Casius stares back at us with what looks like even more surprise. Then his eyes narrow. Excuse me? He tries to move around us, but Amicus blocks his way, growling. What the hell are you doing in here, Casius? Amicus seems to reserve his actual yelling only for Casius, so it makes me jump when I hear it. Casius collects himself quickly despite Amicus's intimidating snarls. Not much of your business, is it? If you're in my room, then it is my business. What are you doing? The wolf starts to advance on Casius, stopping just feet away. Move, Amicus, otherwise I'm calling Cato. Amicus eyes Casius closely, then finally pulls back, folding his arms. Snooping around to find something that might give you a chance in the trial? Well, I can tell you know that you'll be coming up short. Obviously, you've nothing to offer to help me win. Then why come here? Casius ignores the other wolf, walking past Amicus before passing by me. He turns then. And you know I shouldn't be worried after the pitiable display you and your pet put on. He turns to me and I can't help but frown at him. As stupid as he is ugly. I know that Casius is just trying to get under Amicus's skin. He knows that he cares about me. But as Casius reaches out to brush my chin with a paw, I can't stop myself from batting it away. Casius's eyes widen and I see his paw draw back. I flinch, but immediately Amicus is there, reaching out to grab Casius by his cape. The smaller wolf is pulled back from me, but Amicus doesn't stop there. As Casius stumbles past Amicus, the bigger wolf swings his paw, smacking Casius square in the nose. Casius immediately goes down on his ass, at which point I hear another sound. Amicus and I stare down at the smaller wolf as he sits there, stunned. Then he suddenly scrambles up to his feet, a paw to his rear. Amicus, you bastard! Tail-raising lover of ass! I take a step back as Casius practically sprays blood from his mouth. Amicus pulls me to his side, eyes narrowed. I can feel his heart hammering against my shoulder. I'll throw you both in a dungeon for that. I'll have him executed when I'm emperor. I see tears start to spill out of Casius's eyes, for he turns and stumbles out of the room, his tail hanging limply to the side. Amicus and I stand there for a long time after he leaves.